Hello, and it is time for another scope ring review. Today we're looking at the Monstrum Rogue Scope Rings. That's the box they came in. Came with the scope, came with one of these, as well as a couple of extra screws. But the first thing we're going to do is talk about some specs. I'm going to get this in here so we can weigh it. Get that turned on. And the weight on these bad boys for the pair is going to be 3.8, so just about 2 ounces per ring, which is not bad for their size. Because they are sort of a chunkier ring, definitely not minimalist. Along with that, we're going to look at some specs. As it's stated, the Monstrum Rogue, these are the 1-inch scope rings for a 1-inch scope tube. They have a center of bore for your scope of 1 inch above the rail. They have T25 hardware, which is nice. That is for the caps and the clamp. As we saw, they're 3.8 ounces for the pair. Monstrum states that it has 6061 aluminum and type 3 hard anodizing. And that is all we need to look at as far as specs. We can go ahead and pull this one apart real quick and take a look at it. And now I have had these mounted a couple times, both on the fixture over there and on a couple of rifles to do some shooting. And so what we are seeing is that the screws have started to bite into that anodizing when we put that 30 inch-pounds of torque on there. So that's not unusual. Fortunately, we have the bigger heads, so it's not like, doesn't appear to be mushrooming the hole at all, and the screw still moves through there nice and smoothly. As far as on the back side of there, where it was clamped up against the scope rail, we're not seeing anything. We don't have any damage to the hole where the ring or the threads would have damaged it. So that's looking good. On the base itself, we see down here we have our tube diameter and our height. We also have our recoil lug, which goes all the way to the edge and will be up against our clamp just to give it a little bit of extra sturdy support. And on our threads, the anodizing does go all the way to the bottom on those. So that's going to give us that full coverage and hopefully prevent any premature wear of those threads. Same on this side, we don't see any indentation or damage from where it was clamped on the rifle. So I'm going to go ahead and pop the top off here. You gotta love the love-hate relationship with the magnetic bits. All right. So on the inside of the ring, we do see, I can see a couple little bits of noise where the end mill or the cutter was leaving an extra groove there, but I do not feel them. On this side, there's another one. It's even more faint right up here at the top, and I don't feel that one either. What they have done is softened up all these edges. They're not a real hard square corner. I wouldn't call them chamfered, but they're just, knocked off a little bit, so there shouldn't be any damage occurring to your scope tube from that digging in. And as far as blemishes, we do have one right there. Another one right here on the edge. This is the sort of damage that occurs when these things are thrown into a bin with a bunch of other parts and they just kind of bang into one another. And then they just anodize over it. Other than that, I'm not seeing any unusual machining marks. Oop, that's not true. Right here, where the end mill came across and left a little mark there. And there's just a little bit that you can see in here in the corner. But otherwise, that looks pretty decent. On the cap itself, see there's a little mark right there. A couple little bitty ones right here. Another few right up here on this edge. And this has the same effect where it's just kind of softened up these edges so they're not as sharp. There's a little bit more of a radius on that than there was on the base. That's interesting. Clearly not done on the same machine, or at least not with the same settings. But yeah, I think that one looks okay as well. Take a quick look at this one. I don't understand what this was from. Like how maybe there was some oil on there that the anodizing didn't take or something, because that was there when I got it, and it's the only hole that has that effect. Not sure what it is, but it is just the anodizing missing a little bit on that one. And we also see the same machine mark in there. But as far as other blemishes, let's see, take a quick look. Yeah, I do see the same machining mark in there. As far as internal smoothness, also feels good. I don't feel any unusual grooves. So yeah, I think those are doing okay. I will go ahead and get this mounted up over there. We're going to be mounting our Vortex Eagle scope, and we'll do the torque test as soon as I get that ready. So we can see that we are now mounted over here on the fixture, and I have both of the rings loose, and there is a fair amount of play in those slots, so they may actually work on a Weaver style base, even though they state that they're for the Picatinny. I'm gonna go ahead and get these snugged up just a little bit. Then we'll go ahead and switch over to the torque driver, which I have set at 30 inch-pounds. Snug those up just a little bit more. Then we'll go ahead and hit them with the torque. And all four of them held, and they're nice and firm. Go ahead and break one of these loose and see what the threads look like. Feel pretty good. I'm actually curious. See if this bit in there very much. A little bit. It's definitely starting to bite into the anodizing. This is the second time that it has been torqued. We'll get that set back on there. We'll break the other one loose so we can torque it again. Ooh, had a little crack, didn't it? Throw it down. I bet if we look at those, we're probably going to see the same thing. Yep, just starting to bite into that anodizing now. The screw itself looks fine. The threads feel fine on the base as well. No galling or roughness. Doesn't feel like anything's starting to give. Give those a little torque. And then we'll go ahead and torque it one more time. Still at 30 inch-pounds. Held, held, good, and good. They both feel fine. All right, so I will cut this and get the scope set in there, get the caps on. Obviously, I'm not going to make you watch that boring part because it's just me putting screws together. But that feels pretty good, like it's all the way down in that base. Yeah, and I'm not seeing any gaps. Seems to be set in there properly. But anyway, I'll be right back. As you can see, I have the caps on and the screws installed. And at this point, we have a greater than 25 thousandths gap. That one's close. But we have more than 25 thousandths on each cap. And so we can go ahead and proceed with tightening these up. Just to keep an eye on that level so that we do not cause any unwanted canting. I'll check that gap one more time. Got a little tighter there, but we're still good. We still have plenty on that side. So we will go ahead and get with the torque driver. And if you were wondering why I was on the cap or on the turret and not the cap, is because the cap, when it was mounted, was not flat. So the turret appears to be flat. So we just got to keep an eye on that. You don't want to use something that is not level to try to level your scope. So we'll just go ahead and put a little extra torque on these. Check this gap one more time because I'm worried that it's going to bottom out. There seems to be quite a bit of play or give. That one's getting close. Still good. Still good. Okay. I was genuinely concerned with these that the aluminum would have too much play and that I would bottom up the gap before we got it torqued. But my doubts may have been misguided. Just so you know, it was at 18 inch-pounds. So let's check our gap. Still good. 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 Ooh, that one's tighter. Let's see what we need to get to. Let's try 20. 25ths, so nothing to worry about there. So somewhere between 20 and 25, so a couple thousandths one way or the other. Nothing to worry about. So 20 fits in there easily. All right, so let's break a couple of these loose. I think we're going to see some more of that damage to the anodizing from the screw head. But this will be, I think, the third time. Yeah, they're not cutting through the anodizing on that one just yet. Touch that down so we don't lose our gap. Check this one. Same thing. Starting to see a little ring in there where the head of the screw is tapping down against the aluminum and putting a little groove in it. That one's a little tighter. Same story. Okay. Just get this one loose. Same thing. No unusual cutting into there. We're not seeing a bunch of bare aluminum. Get that set back down. We'll crack all these loose so that we can retorque them. Okay, let's check our gaps again. Good, 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 and good. Get back over with our torque driver. Still at 18 inch-pounds. Just putting a little initial torque on these. That one was loose. That one was a little loose. So I'm torquing them down. The ones next to them are starting to loosen up just a little bit. That's normal. Make sure we didn't lose. It shifted a little bit. Dang it. That's what I get for rushing. Good. All right. So now that we have that corrected, go back over to this. I realize a lot of people aren't going to go to all this trouble. I figure since I have the tools and the fixtures, I might as well just to give you guys an idea of, what the process can look like if you want to be very specific. I realize it's a little bit funny on a sub $20 set of rings, but I look at it as good practice. I'm getting it where the screws are starting to loosen up. When I torque one, the one next to it does give a little bit of torque up. One last time on the gaps. That one got tight, but it's still going. That one's good. That one's tight. That one's good. Let's try this. We're good. So all in all, everything looks good. That's all we need to look at here today, and I will go ahead and send you guys on your way. If you enjoy this sort of stuff, you ought to hit the subscribe button. If you have any comments, or if you have any experience with Monstrum rings, put it down there in the comments. But other than that, I will see you guys in the next video.